Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for Monday, January 11th. Okay, I am recording this on Sunday afternoon, so, stuff is going to happen between now and then. But I thought that this would be a good time. I'm going to use my pendulum to check a couple of questions, but then I'm going to take a look at the Trump family and see how they're faring. Oh, before I start, thank you to all of my new subscribers. You're amazing. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Soulprint family. And, of course, for my established subscribers, I adore you. I love the thumbs up and the comments. I read them all. I don't get to comment on all of them, but I do read them. I acknowledge that I've seen them, kind of thing. So keep those coming. I really, really like them. And as usual, as this week unfolds and into next week, you know that I put out videos on this channel on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If anything crazy happens, I will jump on between those 2 days. And I anticipate the Soulprint Insights channel will get their videos released on Tuesday and Thursday. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Alrighty, so pendulum's going side to side, it's telling us it's ready to talk. Okay, pendulum, please show me yes. And pendulum, please show me no. Okay, so back and forth is yes, round and round is no. Here we go. Let's start with some basics. Foregone conclusion question, shall we? Is Donald Trump going to retire from the presidency? No. That makes sense. Is the 20th, and this is confusing, right? This pendulum keeps saying that the 25th Amendment is going to get invoked. Logically, doesn't make sense to me. So we'll see what the pendulum would like to say about that today. Is Mike Pence going to invoke the 25th Amendment? Okay, so now it's saying no. Does Mike Pence now finally understand exactly how evil and vindictive Donald Trump is? Yeah, now I guess it must have been those people screaming, "Where's Pence? We need to hang him." That probably, gave him a bit of a clue. Because, obviously nothing in the last 4 years gave him a clue. So I guess that's what it took. Is the 25th, is Donald Trump going to be impeached this week? Yes. Okay. So this is interesting. Most of you have probably heard this. So Claiborne, he's the House representative from Georgia. He was saying that he actually thinks that the House is not going to send the impeachment documents to the Senate until about 100 days after Biden takes office. It makes perfect sense if you think about it, right? Because McConnell already said, well, I'm not going to bring it to the floor. We're not going to look at it, even if the House sends the impeachment stuff, we're not going to look at it until the 19th. Well, the 19th is when Biden takes office, as you all know. But that's the day that the process of confirming all of his cabinet choices would start. And so what Mitch was doing was he was setting it up so that all those cabinet officials who were instrumental in getting Biden's agenda going, they wouldn't be confirmed yet. So what they're saying now is, it's okay, we'll wait. We're going to get all of these guys confirmed. Then we're going to take up the articles of impeachment at the Senate, at which time, of course, they're going to have majority control over that. But more important, it's not about getting him out of the office at that point because he's gone. What it does do, though, is it takes away his ability to ever run for office again. It takes away his pension, his Secret Service, his travel allowance. That's, I think, that hurts him, right? Because that's statusy stuff, that's money in the pocket kind of stuff, right? Ultimately, Is the Senate going to vote on the articles of impeachment? Yes. And will the other punishments connected to being removed from office be invoked? Okay, there we go. There is a lot of talk about another sort of riot, more of these mob people returning to Washington around the 17th. Is that still in the planning stages? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be as big or as violent as the mob on January 6th? No. Okay, so that's good news. Are Biden and Harris and their families going to be well protected and safe on Inauguration Day? Okay. Is any harm going to come to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or their families? No. Okay. So hopefully that addressed some of the most, pressing questions. There's going to be investigations, the likes of which probably nobody has seen, since JFK was assassinated. There's so much, and it's going to get ugly. It's going to be dirty. They're going to find people were in cahoots. Trump was part of the cabal. It's going to get really, really ugly, but let that unfold as it needs to. As I said before, I think Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, their careers are over. In fact, there is talk already about them resigning or getting removed from office. And so there are two ambitious people with no morals, no conscience, whose careers have just now gone up in flames, as they should. Okay. I want to take a look at Trump's family. I'm going to do it as a family, and then if I have to drill down, I'll do that. Okay. Apparently, I've heard that when that whole stuff, all that craziness was going on the 6th, Melania Trump was supervising a photo shoot at the White House. Because there was some talk about her wanting to, because first ladies tend to put out a book after they leave the White House. Well, apparently she's not into the written word, not surprisingly. So she's planning on doing like a coffee table book or something of pictures. So I guess that's what was occupying her mind while her husband was plotting, planning, and activating an insurgence of the government. One more shuffle. I want to look at the Trump family. Come on down, I have a question. Here we go. Trump family now. Trump family now. Trump family now. How are they doing? Okay. All right. So just overall, they are starting to recognize, they're starting to see, and I think they did. They started to recognize it and see it probably on the 6th, later on as the day went on, as there were videos and the outrage was being voiced, etc., that they really now were only going to be supported going forward by what Donald Trump called the low-class protesters, and that beyond that, they will have absolutely lost any other support, any bounty, any assets, anything that they believed that they could take from the White House. I don't mean I mean like their reputation, marketing deals, that kind of stuff. Any of that has just absolutely died, okay? They are not going to have the support. Ivanka and Jared are going to experience significant loss, in some ways more than the other kids, in part because they were very much part of the social scene of New York. They wanted to be part of the social scene in Florida. And what has happened has frankly destroyed any choices or any options that they had available to them for a calm, quiet, comfortable life, for a life of affluence, for shoring up money, family assets, money, prestige, all of it gone, wiped out. It wouldn't even surprise me if somewhere down the road, Ivanka quietly changed her name to Ivanka Kushner. Wouldn't surprise me. And she would somehow, I don't know, justify it somehow by, I don't know, not wanting to draw too much attention to the kids or something, some craziness. But the two of them, Jared and her, literally felt the floor drop away under their feet by the evening of the 6th. People who, maybe plugged their nose but stayed within their circle because they liked the tax breaks or they liked the prestige, whatever it was, they are lashing out. They are reaching out. They are saying, you're done. I don't want anything to do with me. You guys disgust me. You're appalling. And so they have lost whatever they had accumulated or hoped to use to sort of move them forward over. Any crazy, sick illusions that Ivanka had about running for presidency or governor or whatever the heck, gone. There is not going to be any support for that family except from the extreme fringe groups. This is the thing. A lot of the people that were there were part of those extreme fringe groups. Some of them, though, were simply Republicans who had lived in a bubble. They got all their news from Fox and Rush Limbaugh and the like, and they really believed that somehow or another they were doing the right thing. Those people, slowly but surely, are going to their heads are going to start clearing. Now, a lot of them, the way they're going to handle this is literally, I don't want to talk about it. Because they don't want to, after 4 years of this sort of slavish devotion, they don't want to have to just say, yeah, you know what, I was absolutely wrong. They want to hear it and they don't want to have to say it. So they're just going to go silent. And that's a good thing, frankly. Those people are going to drift away, okay? They're never going to love the Democrats. They're probably never going to quite accept Joe Biden, but they're going to kind of drift. The extremes, they're going to hang in there. But as I said before, it looks like they're just going to go underground a little bit. And so that's the only place, though, that these people are going to get support. They are also more and more aware now than ever before that they will not be able to, in any way, shape, or form, excuse me, they will not be able to receive any sort of leniency. They will not be able to muster public support for any of the lawsuits, charges, any of that going forward. They now realize that whatever threads were still supporting them have been pretty much cut. So they're in for a very, very rough road. And I think Ivanka, in some ways, is actually going to come in under a fair amount of fire, simply because, from that video, I'm sure most of you have seen it now, that video, as they were watching for the rally to start, and they were, dancing and laughing, and that Mark Meadows guy, who is just a disgusting human being, I'm sorry, running around with his thumbs up and smiling like the drunken uncle at a wedding. He's another one, career destroyed. But she was just standing there, right? I mean, she just, and Eric was beside her. It was Don Jr. who was videoing things and being his usual obnoxious self. So she's going to come under a fair bit of fire, almost as if people are going to say, well, you know what? You can't expect any better from Don Jr. Eric's kind of an idiot, so nobody expects anything from him. But at least from Ivanka, one would have expected, just on the grounds of some sort of human decency, she would have reacted. We know what her reaction was. Her reaction was to put a thing on Twitter saying those people were real patriots, which of course she then had to take down. But she never really quite disowned them. All she said was, violence is never the answer, as her brother and her father whipped them up. While I'm at it, Giuliani, he's another one. He's going to come under some significant heat. And I've said it before, but I think now there's real clarity on why it's going to happen. He's going to lose his license, his law license. And for any of you who have not heard that Sidney Powell, she was the one spreading the stories about the Dominion voting machines. That company is now suing her for $1.3 billion, with a B, dollars for defamation. And because there's nothing but tweets and videos and all kinds of stuff with her saying exactly that, I don't see how that's going to fare very well for her. So again, the people around Trump, some of those people who were closest to him, they are going to pay prices that they really, I think, didn't expect. I think that they somehow thought that they would be buffered a little bit, just sort of the idea of, listen, you don't want to really completely trash a previous administration and the people connected with them. Over. That is done. In fact, people who don't trash them, the administration, the hangers-on, that, they too are going to be sort of painted with the same brush of, have you no moral compass that you can't even say this is wrong? So that's going on. Donald Trump is in an absolute whack of trouble. Oh my goodness, an absolute whack of trouble. Not only is he, of course, losing any of the power and perks of the presidency, he really is not going to have a bully pulpit. He's not going to have a soapbox. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It is not going to be very long, very far down the road, when the Trump name is going to be in the same category as Benedict Arnold and Hitler. It's as simple as that. In some ways, Trump is only sort of starting to recognize that he's like in really, really big trouble. He was warned, people told him. He was living in that crazy little bubble of his where he believed that because, frankly, the GOP allowed him to get away with breaking and bending the rules and norms for 4 years, he saw no reason at all for them not to do it this time. And he's starting to realize that, he's like in big trouble, and his biggest fear, going to jail, being stripped of any status, losing his money, he is now starting to come to realize that that's really likely. Okay, and as he realizes that, because he can't accept it, he's becoming more volatile and more angry and more unhinged, more irrational. Okay, just while we're right here, I'm just going to ask, should Donald Trump try to, let's go side to side first, please tell me you want to talk. Okay. Should Donald Trump try to do anything truly dangerous in his remaining days in office, like, anything with the nuclear codes, anything with starting a war, anything like that? Is there protection and guardrails in place that will thwart any attempts that he makes? Okay, so that's a yes. So if he tries to lash out anymore, he's definitely going to be stopped. It feels also, unfortunately, like there is a fair amount of literally destruction going on around him. I don't know exactly how much or what, but we've known that for 4 years. He's like desecrated the office. He's broken things. He's been him. But of course, that too has also ramped up. I'm getting a vision of a big screen TV that was like kicked in or punched in, like the glasses all over the floor. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe it's representative, maybe it's literal, maybe it's figurative, but that's sort of the energy, right? Melania has completely pulled back. She's completely separated. If her and Barron, I can't imagine that they're even in the White House right now, but if they were, they're not. I don't believe that you're going to see your first lady again. Good riddance. Between now and the 20th, or if you see her, it's going to be fleeting, walking from point A to point B. She has nothing to say anymore, and she really is doing everything she can to keep her physical distance and Barron's physical distance away from Trump, because Trump is too volatile. And she's actually concerned for physical safety. Now, interestingly, the one person who is still incredibly deranged, believe it or not, is Donald Trump Jr. Jr. is having the hardest time trying to wrap his head around exactly what happened. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. He thinks they're right. And even if in his heart of hearts he doesn't really believe they were right, he has lived a life where just having a lot of bravado and being aggressive and yelling and screaming has pretty much always gotten him what he wanted. He throws that weight around of being a Trump. Well, you know what? All of a sudden it's not weight around as much as it's a weight around your neck that is going to, sink you to the bottom. He seems to be having a hard time comprehending what is actually going on. And that girlfriend of his, she it doesn't appear as if she is prepared to sort of take any responsibility, right? Like, she is that person who hands somebody, gasoline and a match and says, do what you think is right. And then when the person lights the match and torches everything, she says, well, I didn't make you light the match. That's the energy of her, okay? So just so you know what he's dealing with there and the family's dealing with. Oh my goodness, people, justice is coming. It's coming for all of, there's the other Trump card. It's coming for all of them. And it's really going to be unfortunate. The justice being doled out is going to be delivered much, I don't want to say much faster than it would have been, but it's going to just feel like it's day after day after day. It's just going to keep on rolling out and rolling out and rolling out. And this is the thing. You have all those people now, right, who are in jail or who have been charged, who have been arrested. And there's going to be many, many, many more to come. And of course, there's going to be questions about the difference between white protesters and black protesters, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to just focus on this just for this reading. We already understand with great clarity the injustice of it all and the prejudice behind it and the ignorance behind it. But it really feels as if it's just those people, okay, some of them are going to start talking. And pretty soon we're going to get a much clearer picture of exactly who is involved with what and to what degree. Heads are going to roll. Virtually nobody is going to escape this unscathed. Because as horrible, and I'm not trying to draw a direct comparison, so forgive me if it kind of comes off sounding that way. As horrible as the JFK assassination was, that was an act of violence, and for that matter, and and Robert Kennedy too. Those were acts of violence directed at a person. This was acts of violence, multiple acts of violence intended to kidnap, murder, hang, torture, not only the people, and it was an attack on the symbols of the country's democracy. So in that way, it's going to be huge. And this is the thing, energetically, this is one of those situations where as the days go by, people are not going to lose their indignation and their anger and all of it, because as the days go by, more and more information is going to come out. And so the energy now that is saying, get these guys gone, we want them removed from office, never mind, not only Trump, but we want a whole bunch of GOP people removed from office, that is going to continue to build and build. And again, now we kind of understand maybe how come the pendulum was so insistent that Mitch McConnell was not going to be around 6 months from now. He wasn't going to be in office. He wasn't going to be the minority leader. You can see why. Because at some point, that dial of blame is going to point in his direction too. And so a lot of these people who were dancing around and strutting around because they were so pleased that they had so much power, stripped. Absolutely stripped. So, the family as a whole, there's going to be, when you do hear from them, there's going to be a lot of justifications. And even the people around Trump are going to try and pull that, well, I hung in there because I was trying to protect the country from crap. Okay? Not true. They're trying to save face, and people are going to see through it. Absolutely going to see through it. Their tricks, their shenanigans are going to be called for exactly what they are, and people are not going to tolerate it. And this Queen of Pentacles, I'm literally reading as if material possessions, funds, whatever it is, they are actually going to all pay a significant price in that way too. Because not only are they going to lose status, but the people around Trump who for so many years supported him, egged him on, turned a blind eye, ran around the hall saying, oh, I didn't see that text. Oh, I haven't heard it. I haven't heard that. Oh, he must have been joking. All those people, there will be a price to pay. Within the family, oh my God. Donald Trump can't find enough people to blame. Because, of course, he can't take any responsibility for this, right? So he's doing a lot of lashing out. He's furious with Pence. Oh my God, he's furious with Mitch McConnell. He is angry, just angry at everybody. It feels literally as if nobody can stand in front of him without a rage and fire just shooting out of him and out of his mouth against people. He literally is being so angry and so aggressive and so unhinged that even those closest to him, they can't. You can expect some more resignations this week, because the thing is, I'm getting the feeling that Trump may yet try to do something. I don't know. I don't know, but it feels like he's got another trick up his sleeve, and that's going to create even more of a problem. Whatever it is, I don't see him getting away with it, but it's one of those situations where it's almost like if anybody was sort of still prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt, that has been lost. That's over. Okay. So, just flip one more card. Okay, here we go. These are the final cards. So the Hermit is telling us that this, again, turned into a very large opportunity for the people of the United States to take a good look at themselves, at what they've tolerated, and at some of the attitudes and behaviors that have long needed to be adjusted and corrected. This is my Kamala Harris card. This is the card for the Biden-Harris administration. Those people, that situation is going to turn the fortunes of the United States around, but it's going to be a long time coming. It's not going to be easy. And allies right now are going to be a wee little bit wary. But it's over. It will be over. It will be investigated. And those responsible are going to face punishment, judgment, and loss. And the shroud, the secrecy, the opaqueness, it's coming to an end. Okay. So listen, it's going to be another week. Boy, oh boy. Take care of yourselves. Try to keep yourself centered. Try to keep your energy as positive as you can, because you need to. You know, this is the thing. I know everybody is angry and they're furious and they're all of those emotions. I ask you again to do everything you can to try to keep yourself, if you can't stay in a positive space, at least try to stay in a benign space, a neutral space, because any of your rage and anger is going to meet up with like energy. And you know who else is raging and angry? Trump and his supporters and the crazy people who stormed the building. You don't want to, in any way, shape, or form, feed that energy with your own anger. Not now, right? Not now. I mean, I understand the anger is absolutely justified, but do everything you can to just try to stay in a place that isn't about anger, especially not right now, okay? And stay engaged with your government officials. Democratic, Republican, wherever you live, keep hammering at them. Keep hammering at them. Let them know how appalling and disgusting what happened was, and that you, as the citizens of the country, are demanding correction, action, and punishment. Okay. Until next time, take care, be well, and we'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.